Okay, welcome to another edition of the Above the Bridge podcast. I'm your host, Thaddeus Park. If this is your first time checking out our podcast, you can find us on any platform: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, also our YouTube, as well as atbpod.com. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. It matters, so I appreciate the support. First thing I want to do is shout out our sponsor, all our sponsors. Defend Hawaii's been our first sponsor since the beginning, and they got some new stuff right now for spring. Go check them out at Windward Mall. They have a store called No One. Also, if you go to their website, defendhawaii.com, check out what they have. They had a whole bunch of crazy stuff, some nice drops, some new and old stuff that I rock all the time. But go check them out, defendhawaii.com. If you use promo code ATBpod upon checkout, you'll get 15% off your entire purchase order. So go check them out. Next, we have iRep Detail Supply, and they're your one-stop shop superstore for everything you need to detail your vehicle. Go check them out in Temple Valley Shopping Center. They also have a store in Las Vegas. But go check them out, irepdetailsupply.com. If you use promo code ATBpod upon checkout, you'll get 15% off your entire purchase. Go check them out. They got waxes, polishes, soaps, everything you need to detail your car, make it look nice. Go check them out, iRep Detail Supply. Last but not least, we have our medicinal mushroom company, and they're a locally based medicinal mushroom company, Med Mushroom Hawaii. If you check them out on their website, Med Mushroom High, they have four tinctures of extracted mushrooms. They have lion's mane, chaga, turkey tail, and red reishi. And on their website, it explains each and everything that these mushrooms do for health benefits. I take them religiously. I take the first three in the morning. I take the red reishi at night to help me sleep good. But go check them out, medmushroomhigh.com. Promo code ATBpod upon checkout, all capitals, and you'll get 45% off your first tincture of mushrooms, whatever one you want. So go check them out. Aloha. Okay, this week my guest is someone I've known in the nightlife industry for since I've started. Someone that I really enjoy his conversations, his company, and somebody I thought was always cool in the nightlife industry. That's crazy that we've been in part of. He's all now a radio host, a disc jockey. Is that what they call them now? Disc jockeys?
I don't know.
I don't know.
They say DJ, but like to you and me, a DJ is something different,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
I call them jocks, or I call myself on the air a jock.
All
But that's
right.
just part of what I do at iHeartRadio. But yeah,
Okay.
not like
Well,
I'm not like Compose
yeah.
and
You're
S
not. You're not
spinning
on the
records
ones
or
and
God
twos.
spinning records. Jesus.
So his name is Flash, and welcome to my show. I'm so stoked that you're here. You're like one of the people I've been wanting to have on, and yeah, it just worked out. This was the best timing.
Every podcast needs their token Howley, so I'm happy to jump on board.
Brad, the biggest question I had when I told people you're come on is ask him if that's his real name, and I know the answer, but you can answer
No,
that for me.
of course it's not my real name. My real name is Robert. It's no secret, but nobody ever calls me that. So
That's cool. That's my middle name, by the way.
really
Yeah. Thaddeus
awesome.
Robert. Yeah, after my grandfather. Yeah. So we're both Bobs.
If anyone ever calls me Bob, I will never talk to them again.
Yeah, you and me both. Bro, I've been going down memory lane with Taco. I had Ronnie on, Peter, people we all know.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of when we met, well, I got to talk to you and your friends at Becky Mitt's going away party. We kind of went down memory lane of all the nightclub stuff back in the day, and you were a huge part of the Hawaii nightlife scene, and you and Flash. But I remember meeting you at the Wave
You mean me and Matty Boy, I
Pussycat.
think.
Yeah, yeah. Maddie,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. Pussycat Lounge. Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pussycat
Pussycat
Lounge.
Lounge.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first time I met you, and that party was amazing. It was a Tuesday, right?
Yeah. That was back in the days when, every single night there was at least one place somewhere that was as busy as any nightclub could be, right? And that
Yeah.
there was at least one spot literally 7 days a week. In fact, Tuesday we there was three different events on Tuesdays. It's crazy to think that how that business was sustainable for this town back then, where you had Ocean Club, they were packed every Tuesday. Rick Rock had Pipeline every Tuesday.
That's
And
right.
I had Pussycat Lounge every Tuesday at the Wave. So it was like the slowest night of the week, what in theory should be the slowest night of the week, was like the best industry night in town because
Yeah,
there was, three different events that were, doing the sales of, you know, a Saturday night. And it's crazy. It used to be that way. It was a lot
it
of fun.
is. I get choked up about that kind of stuff. And Pussycat Lounge, you're right. It was a Tuesday, and because most of the other industry venues are closed, it was like you said, an industry event. I like the Wave, and I'm gonna tell you why. And it's probably not the best moral ethical thing, but the Wave was till 4, and if you didn't, I could go out through the whole night, and if you didn't pull a chick by 2 o'clock, you could go to the Wave, and the percentage goes up, bro. I had like a 90% success rate at the Wave.
Nice. Good for you. Good for
Yeah.
you.
That was Wave, and the Maze was like the guarantees back in the day.
Ah, the Maze. Man, I haven't heard that club name in a
Yeah.
long time.
I just
Yeah,
see
man.
Kale recently. He came to the district maybe a few months ago with his
Really?
daughters. Yeah. His daughters were at Republic for some emo thing, and he came down and asked if he could show them into district. They were like 19, and I made it cool. Of course they couldn't drink or anything, but I brought Kale and his daughter into the district, and it was cool. Kale's the same, bro. And I'm sure you've known that guy for a while,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a while, but every time I run into him, it's just good to catch up. We always had a good relationship, but yeah, it's those are good days. I feel like everyone that was sort of involved in the scene back then, even though I guess technically we were all competitors, but everyone sort of had their own lane, and um, that made for everybody being pretty friendly with each other. Um, and that was cool. And I feel like everyone has sort of, stayed at least friendly, if not actual friends, through all these years. It's really cool to see, actually.
yeah, I was just talking to Hanson about it. It was we
Shout
could
out Level H.
yeah, shout out to Level H. Like we could actually go to 4 different promoters events, and like you said, it was cool. It was fun. Like I became friends with you guys, like with architects, vertical junkies. It wasn't like, oh, there are competitors, like fuck them or whatever. It was like, oh no, come have a drink. And it was
Yeah,
all aloha. And like you said, there were so many different venues, and the piece of the pie was so huge. It wasn't like, oh, if Flash is throwing an event, we're screwed because then nobody's gonna come to our spot. Like we had our
yeah.
own genres, and going around to everybody else's stuff was one of my funnest things. And I remember your Hano Hano room was, what did you guys call it? Skyline or something like
Skyline.
that?
Yeah,
Skyline.
Skyline.
Yeah, that was that was the best. It was like a different crowd than what we were used to, but when we got there, it was just the same Aloha vibe. And man, you guys had that place jumping.
Yeah, it was good times. I mean, obviously Maddie and I being like we were the only Howley promoters outside of G Spot who was throwing raves, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
we really had a lane all to ourselves. And we were purposely going for something a little different than everybody else. But you're right, bouncing around between everyone else's parties, especially when your own party was happening and you
Yes.
sneak out and just like go do like one shot at everyone else's spot. And it was cool to see that everyone else could be busy. We could all be busy at the same time with all vastly different crowds and different music and
Yeah.
different vibes, but all good. And yeah, it was just it was super fun. It was a really cool scene to be a part of. I feel lucky and fortunate to be a part of it. And it's so different than how it is now. It's sort of hard to explain to people how different it is and how, you know, the that like nightlife industry isn't it it doesn't really exist like it used to, right? So
Yeah.
that's a shame to see. Other things have cropped up more, the restaurant bar scene, but as far as a straight up nightlife scene, it's just, there is no promoters anymore, right? And
Yeah.
back in the day, after a while, it was a running joke. Everyone was either a promoter or a DJ. But
And a
somehow,
girl and a girl was a go-go or a bottle service.
yeah, right. Well, bottle service came later even than I'm
Yeah.
talking about, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was great to see that industry could thrive in that way. But it is cool to see how people have changed and evolved over the years and stayed relevant as well.
Yeah. I like you just touched on so many different things that got me smiling. I would, me and Peter would have this thing and what you said, like our events going on and we'd be like ninja. We would tell each other ninja and me and Peter would just dig out and go jump two different spots and come back and Ronnie'd be like, where were you guys? Where are you? Our event's going on. It was like, oh, we're just
Yeah, well,
on
that's a
networking.
good Ronnie impression right there.
Yeah. Yo.
Hey, Flashy, Flashy,
Yeah.
Flashy, come do shot with me.
Yo.
Hey.
And you guys are super cool because I remember you had it was Ravi Drums, I think his name was some
Oh, Robbie drums. Yeah.
Robbie Drums, and then you guys did the twisted cuts where the girls would come and they
Adam
would
Sachs.
cut up the
Yeah.
shirts, yeah.
Yeah. Those
Uh,
guys, I'm still friends with those guys to this day. We all stay in touch.
oh, that's super cool,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was a different vibe to the club scene that I was used to, and like you said, everybody had their own lane, and it was cool to experience. I am disappointed how the club scene is now. Not for me personally, but for the younger generations. They don't get to experience what we experience. And I don't know. I at some points I think that it's because I'm old and it's like, you don't know how good it was or whatever. But I feel like they really don't because they really don't have those opportunities. You know what I mean?
They don't have the opportunities, number one. Number two, this changed everything, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, we're talking about a time when people were going out, there was no smartphones. Um, in fact, I could remember even when texting came into play as a promoter,
Oh yeah.
um, in being able to take advantage of texting to help promote your events. Um, so you had to be present, and when you went out, you had to actually interact with people and like talk to people.
Yep.
And you weren't worried about posting anything or looking cool or any of the things that come along with social media. I'm sure as a promoter, from a marketing standpoint, there's a lot of pluses to it,
Yeah.
but from just going in and be able to experience an event, most of social media is a detriment to it. Gets in the way of just having fun and enjoying the party. And quite frankly, three-quarters of the things that went on at the Wave after 2 o'clock, you couldn't even do today because of, cameras and so it's just, it was different times. So
I
much
didn't even
fun.
think of that. Yeah, there'll be a lot more evidence and we'd be a lot more incriminating ourselves back then. But I agree with you and it hurts me a little bit to see that's the direction that the youth is going to. It's not about being in the moment. It's being about showing people the moment you're in. And nobody really cares. It took a lot of balls when you're
Nobody cares.
yeah,
Like,
nobody
nobody
cares.
cares.
Nobody cares, especially nobody gives a shit what you're eating for dinner. That drives me nuts. Nobody
Right,
cares
right.
that you're having some stew plate from yeah, nobody cares. But to be present and in the moment where we would have to go and actually, as promoters, go up to people, and Ronnie would call these things bullets, and it was a VIP pass to our event. And I would have to go up to a girl somewhere, someplace, and be like, "Hi, I'm Thad. We're doing an event over here. I want to
Oh,
invite
poor
you."
Thad. I'm sure that was so hard for you.
Well, it's a lot more risky than fucking text, like going on social
Yeah.
media and just sending a message where I don't have to take the risk of being rejected. And as a club goer, as a patron, I don't have to go up to a bunch of girls and be like, "Hey, can I get you a drink?" And like risking rejection. Like you could do that on your couch and hopefully they'll respond. If they don't on social media, then hey, I just delete you and it never happened. And I don't lose face. And I'm sure you've done it before where we went up to a bunch of girls at a club and hey, I'm Flash. This is my event. Thank you for coming. Can I get you a drink? And they just like, shut you down or whatever. And then it's like, okay, I'm walking
Thad,
back.
how dare you? That never happened.
What happened to me?
No, that was, it takes I mean, I didn't never really thought about it, but it takes a certain kind of personality to be a promoter to begin with. But then when you actually start doing it and you're doing it for a while and, people like you and me were doing it for years, it really does sort of hone your social skills where you have to learn, at least if you're going to be successful, how to talk to anybody, right? How to
Yeah,
walk up to strangers, guys, girls, whatever, any kind of person, any type of age range, any type of demo, rich, poor, whatever. And you have to be able to go up and connect with them and connect with them quickly and also win them over to your side to get them to want to come to your event, right?
yeah,
And it takes a special skill set to do that, but also after you do it for a while, you're obviously only going to get better and better at that.
yeah.
And
One
I
of my
think, promoters these days, they're not doing that. And that is in part why parties today, I don't think, are as successful because you don't have that personal connection to the people putting on the event. Like, yeah, I follow them on socials or this or that or whatever, but it's not the same as like, yo, my boy is DJing tonight. Oh my God, like my best friend is bartending tonight, whatever. Like, I love that girl behind the bar. She's the best. There's just so it makes for a different type of party. I
yeah.
think because of that, and I think that is in part why clubs and promoters as a whole sort of went on the decline is because they relied too much on their phones and not the old school way of doing things.
Wow.
Um,
I
and
like that
it sucked
insight.
flyering parking lots and stuff, but it makes you a better person and like
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know, I just feel like it's just different.
I agree. I'm honestly stoked to hear your insight on that. Speaking about flying parking lots, man, what was the craziest I've rolled up to people oofing in their car. I stepped in puke. Like we were running them parking lots hard and half the time they just throw those flyers away, but
I
it
think the
mattered.
craziest thing, and Maddie Boy and I used to do it all the time. And sometimes you're doing it while you're also going out, doing shots,
Yeah.
bouncing around to all your other friends' parties, like literally in the middle of that. So you're dressed to go out, like, to go out. And then, but you're also flyering the parking lot, flyering Chinatown. Um, but usually, I mean, the craziest stuff for us was when we were on a night when you weren't going out and you were like dressed to go flyer and it's like okay we're literally gonna fly sent like put out 5,000 flyers tonight. Here's half stack for you, half stack for
Yeah.
me. And
Just
inevitably on
blanket.
those nights you're going to get chased by security. And getting chased by security is something that happens often and it's never not scary.
It's
And
fun though.
it's fun. Yeah, of course it's fun because you never get caught.
Yeah.
Or at least I never got caught or we never got caught. And I can't really remember anybody that any of us knew like really getting caught.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure in hindsight now, it doesn't seem like you would have gotten in all that much trouble. They just would have, said, don't do that anymore.
Or
Like,
make you take them all off.
Well, that would really suck. God, that
Yeah.
would suck. But yeah, it was never fun running away from security in the moment, but it was like as soon as it was over and you made it, and you're like, oh my God, that was so exciting. It's like,
Yeah.
now let's go to the bar and have a shot. Um, it was always fun after, but that was, I think, the craziest stuff we ever did was run away from security. And at times in a multi-level parking lot,
Yeah.
like the UH parking lot, right across from Stan Sheriff,
Yep.
where you're on multiple levels and then you have to go down multiple levels and you're evading multiple security on multiple levels at the same time. And again, this is pre-AirPods, pre-smartphone, so it was
Yeah.
like harder to communicate with each other and your team as you're doing it. And yeah,
We
I don't miss
had,
those days, but they were
yeah,
very fun.
we had Nextel. Now that you remember Nextel,
Yeah, of course.
the
Yep.
walkie-talkies. That's how we would do it. And I remember Zanzibar parking lot was multi-tiered, and Peter be like, "Hey, they're coming after us on this floor," and then we're just running around. Yeah, it was good
Yeah, that
times.
that lot was tricky because that lot was so small.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it was hard to get around that one, and like we've done Stan Sheriff that parking lot. Yeah, it was well, good times, and people don't even flyer anymore. I don't even remember the last time I've even seen a club flyer.
yeah, and they should because everyone is like you have to zag when everyone else is zigging, right? If you want to
Yep.
stand out as the promoter. And if I was gonna like throw parties again, like for real, I would do a lot of tactile, like tangible, in real life stuff, right? That people can touch, can feel, because you're just way too inundated on your phone, but you would have a flyer lane or whatever all to yourself, right? And so you would really, really stand out.
Yep. And it's guerrilla marketing. For our event that we're doing now, we actually printed VIP passes, and I've been passing them out, and the reaction I've been getting is, "Oh, what is this?" Or it's a VIP pass. Just bring this to the club. It gave value to the card that I'm giving them, because if you bring it, and yeah, it's old school guerrilla marketing, and that's the funnest. I always enjoy that. But at the clubs now, I noticed that the people there are, like I said, too in tune to being on social media to show people what they're doing. They don't have a engagement, and it's they stay in their own clique. It's all about, look at me, in the VIP taking shots, and it bums me out. I was at a Third Eye Blind concert years ago, and I always tell this story because it mattered to me that the lead singer, like throughout the concert, they're singing, and at every concert, everybody's filming with their phones, and he stopped the concert. He said, "For this one song, everybody put your phones away. Don't put out your phone. Let's all be in the moment together and enjoy this song together as a band and as a crowd. Let's be in this moment, not behind a screen." And I'm standing there like, fuck, this is how life is supposed to be. Like, this is
Yeah.
this, and
Especially for certain
yeah,
moments. Yeah.
yeah, and
It
it's
does totally change what your experience of going to a nightclub is, or what your experience of going to a concert is, or what your experience of just going to an event is. It changes, right? And it's like you're not actually having fun, you're pretending to have fun, or you're sort of showcasing that you're having fun. And it's like you said, everyone, it's all about themselves. And really, if everyone is posting with that in mind, then no one is going to watch anyone else's shit. They're just going to
yeah,
be like paying attention to their own stuff. I remember, you know, good DJs, especially when, would be flying DJs out, like there would be people standing around the DJ booth just wanting to watch what the DJ was doing, how they were mixing, what songs they were playing, how they were beat matching, and what they were doing. And now it's like no one is that present anymore, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
and it's like even for that same thing, you would get up and you're gonna Shazam the song or you're gonna film them, or you can go watch their YouTube tutorial later or whatever, as opposed to just really being in that moment going, wow, this DJ is so incredible. And you've just done nothing but focus all your attention on watching that guy mix for the last, or girl mix for the last like 15 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever. And,
Yeah.
especially like when it comes to dancing, everybody dances now like everyone else is watching them, and as opposed to like, especially at the wave, like people did not give a fuck. Zero. The wave from day one was a zero fucks given, safe space for anybody to do anything, and that's what made the wave so great. And it's like you just wouldn't see something like that
Yeah.
anymore. Even if you're like that, someone else will film you acting like a fool, and then you're going to get put on blast and go viral for all the wrong reasons,
Yeah.
for looking like an idiot on the dance floor or whatever.
And you're just
So,
out there having fun being yourself. And that's
yeah,
what this society is missing right now. Like you said, everybody's too scared to get caught on film doing something that they love because it might make them look awkward or whatever. Like,
right.
you're right. I see some crazy shit at the wave and some crazy dance moves and but people having fun, bro. And honestly, that's what life's about. You mentioned like the DJs and stuff and just the evolution of DJs. I remember when they had to bring their milk crates full of vinyl, so now they bring a thumb drive. It's fucking wild.
I was actually just thinking about this the other night. And this is really going to date myself, but some of the, some people will remember. I remember we had Kid Cudi, I think it was Kid Cudi, DJ at the Wave, and he brought out, and obviously, like we had to pay for this, right? Shipping 18 milk crates of records, 18 milk crates that he put up on the stage behind him. And it's like, you think about that. That's what's on your thumb drive now or in your laptop. Like essentially, those 18 crates was not his whole record collection. That was just his traveling touring collection, right? And that was his database for the night. But he actually had to thumb through and just watch. He could thumb through albums so fast. And I don't know how he had them like set up and categorized, right? But obviously there's some sort of system. I remember at a DMC, it was a DMC semifinal of the Pacific that we did it at the Wave with G Spot. And A-Track was the DMC champion at the time, so he did a demo after the local contest, and he was the first person. He had a beta version of a Pioneer CDJ, and no one had ever even heard of this, let alone seen it. It was in beta, it was still in beta, and A-Track at the time, 16 years old, and it was like blew the entire room away that this kid was DJing with, like, where is all those milk crates, right? Where are all
Yeah.
the records? Like, what do you mean it's all like in the thing? And it's crazy to think that number one, I'm that old and have seen that evolution come out to now that's like industry standard, right?
Yeah.
Now to the point of where you get someone that literally just presses play on a premix and then pretends to DJ, even if
Yeah.
they are a DJ. It's pretty mind-blowing to think of the transformation of club DJs and just nightlife DJs in general. And a lot of it is for the worse, obviously, compared
Yeah.
to the old school guys that really had to learn, with a different skill set. And there is obviously all of your favorite DJs, anyone watching this, pretty much any of your favorite DJs that are still out there in clubland in Hawaii are those guys, right? You
Yeah.
know, Taco and Compose and Technique and there's Mass Funk is another one. There's a lot of guys that have just been around forever, and I'm forgetting a million people right now.
Yeah.
But in some of the especially the hip hop guys, Sub-Zero is still doing it,
Oh,
Drama's still
Sub-Zero.
doing it,
Yeah.
but you can tell the difference between. I mean, if you are a discerning nightlife person, or and especially if you're in the industry, you can tell someone that has the proper foundation and skill set as a DJ and learned the right way, instead of someone. I don't know how to DJ at all, but I could go download a YouTube mix and get my laptop out, press play at a nightclub tomorrow and look like I was the best DJ ever, right? Like
Yeah.
I'll just go take an old AM mix or a four color Zach mix and then be like,
Yeah.
oh my God, look at that guy. And
It's
just throw
wild
cake
to,
at
yeah.
everybody or do whatever and jump up and
Yeah.
down on the DJ rig. And when I was at the Republic and you get all these EDM acts, really big EDM acts coming through, and we're spending a ton of money. There's a ton of production into it. And it's just like this guy's literally just pressing play and then just jumping around and dancing and acting like an idiot. And people are going crazy for it. But it's like, I'm not saying that guys like that or girls like that aren't good DJs. It's just when they're touring,
They're
it's
not
easy.
mixing.
It's
Yeah.
easy to take the easy way out, right?
Yeah.
It's a much easier to press play and then just jump around and have fun instead of like, I really need to focus on my craft right now.
Yeah.
But it's just wild how different that is. Matty Boy and I used to joke all the time. It's like, you know, we really missed the boat and we should have become DJs because that's where the real money ended up being. And there's just all these stupid, silly gimmicks. And it's just like half the DJs, aren't even really spinning records properly or mixing properly anymore. It's just
Yeah.
like, we're always like, if that would be the one thing we would change is we would have been, put on our masks and be the next Daft Punk or whatever and just
Yeah.
hit play and throw
Ex
cake.
yeah. Half of these DJs don't even use headphones, man. Like they're just line matching. Like,
Yeah, if a DJ doesn't have headphones on, that is like close to red flag number one right there.
yeah, exactly. It's crazy. In your opinion, how do you like the music nowadays? Like you're in the radio industry and kind
Yeah,
of
I'm
somewhat
in
in
the.
the nightlife, but
I
I'm
mean, obviously,
disappointed.
radio music and radio artists is going to be different to some degree, and you're not getting the remix of the songs, right? You're not getting the club mixes.
Yeah.
Um, so the stuff that's on the radio, I don't think is, and certainly the stuff on the station I'm on or stations I'm on. Um, but behind the scenes, regardless of what genre of music you're in now, a lot of people are using the same producers. A lot of people are using the same songwriters. Um, and so the music is and ends up it's I feel like at least popular music is getting a lot more homogenized because you're getting the same five producers that are producing everybody. You're getting the same like five guys making beats for everybody. Um, and then you're getting like, oh, country's the hot genre right now. So now,
Yeah.
you've got you know, everyone doing the country version of their songs or everyone doing a country album, or it's like, oh, I'm a rapper, but I'll get a big country artist to do a verse on my song and vice versa, because everyone wants to like, I'm going to cross my fans with your fans, and then I can, in theory, get new fans out of that. So you're getting so much cross pollination in music. It makes for a bunch of interesting stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like, oh, K-pop's big right now. So Bruno does a K-pop collab, it's just like, oh, country's big right now. So Beyonce is gonna, release a country album. Because everyone wants to like, oh, where's the potential revenue that I haven't tapped into yet, right?
Yeah.
So part of it is greed, and part of it is just for whatever reason, again, the homogenation but some of it's good because or some people are coming from the right place, and they just the internet means that people are not a fan of just one genre anymore, right? The
Yeah.
access to all music anywhere in the world all the time means because you're exposed to so much more music now, you can be a fan of a lot more music. So then you get someone like Post Malone who's like, I became successful as a rapper, but I grew up on Nirvana. So I want to do some music that's like that. And now I'm so successful that I have the window to do that. He's doing it in like a true organic way that's cool to see, but other people are doing it for a money grab,
Yeah.
or their producers or agents or managers are telling them to do that because they could make more money. So for all those different reasons, again, for better or worse, a lot of music is just sounds like a lot more homogenized now. And you're getting artists from every genre that there is going to Nashville to use the Nashville songwriters because those guys are the best at writing songs, even though they've only wrote country songs, up until lately. Now those guys are being, hired to write songs for every genre possible. I mean, sooner or later, if everyone's just using the same behind the scenes people for anything, whether it's TV, movies, music, whatever, there's going to be a homogenization and in sort of a um, everybody going towards like the lowest common denominator
Yeah.
that is not good. Um,
Yeah.
that causes everything to sound alike, look alike. And that's not as interesting, obviously.
Yeah, that's good to get your insight on that. I trip out because a lot of the younger generation listens to music that I grew up. Like my daughter, we were at the gym and she's like, "Here, hey dad, you want one of my AirPods?" So I put in her AirPod and I listened. She's like, I have a Spotify playlist. And she had like Tupac, she had Biggie, she had like old school stuff. And I'm thinking, like, how do you even know this song? Like, you weren't even close to being born when this came out. Like, and it just made me think, like, she was more attracted to the music I grew up in versus the music that she's living now. And for me, it was never like that. I didn't like my dad's shit, and he was always like, "Oh, your stuff's so junk. It's the new stuff is there's no soul or anything." And now I feel like I'm saying that about the new music. Like we grew up on Tupac and that kind of stuff where it was poetry. And I listen to some of the stuff now and it's just garbage. And I could be the fact that I'm older or whatever, but the fact that my daughter was drawn to my generation's music blew me away. And I didn't force it on her. She seeked it out and gravitated towards it and then became a fan of it. And I was blown away by her Spotify playlist.
It,
Granted, she has
it,
some SZA and stuff like that on there, but yeah.
yeah. Did you ask her what attracted her to that music in the first place?
Yes, and she said it sounds better and it means more. That's what she said. It means
Mm,
more. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh shit, I did a good job. Nah.
I mean, there still is really good music out there, but
Yeah,
it's not, it's, you have to seek it out, right? Like the
yeah,
most popular music that's out there in any genre isn't doing anybody any favors, but you could probably say that across all time. And every generation has shit on the generation, before them and after them's music, right? Every
yeah,
generation thinks their generation's music is the best.
yeah, yeah,
Um, I was unlike you in that, like, I loved a lot of my parents' music, but my parents were listening to C&K and Kalapana, and Stevie Wonder and Led Zeppelin and The Doors, and so you know that for certain types of music, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, that was a golden era of a certain kind of music. Obviously, for hip hop, nothing's going to be better than the 90s, right? I mean,
yeah,
that is the go-to for sure.
yeah. The same, like I didn't like my parents' music, but I did like past music at the time. And I know you were surprised when I brought it up when we were at Becky Miss thing, but I'm a rocker. I,
Nice.
yeah, I love rock. That's my
Yeah,
favorite. That's
I've
my
known you
go.
a long time. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, and that's my go-to. Like I like rock more than any other music. I have Metallica tattoos. Like I that's my
Yeah,
shit.
tell everyone. I don't know if you've talked about this on your show before, but tell everyone how many times you've seen Metallica and how you like fly. Metallica
Yeah,
is one of my favorite bands. I think I've seen them live, I think 5 or 6 times. But I mean, you have me beat. You're the
yeah.
guy jumping on a plane every tour to go and see them. How many times have you seen them live?
I don't even know. I seen them every time they came to Hawaii, but every night. Like if they came to Hawaii and did a
Yeah.
three show, I went all 3 nights.
Yeah.
I
And
went
then you
to
were deaf afterwards for a month,
oh
but that was
yeah. I have a scar on my calf from like moshing and like getting tossed into the chairs. We are actually going to Levi Stadium in June
right.
because
Yeah.
Metallica has this is gonna blow me away. 2 night set two separate, totally different sets.
Yeah.
So it's a Wednesday and a Friday. They give you a break in between, and I'm so excited for
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
That's smart for them. So from the business standpoint, they do that because if as a fan, then you buy tickets to both shows, right?
yeah,
Instead of I just need to go one night. No, now I have to go both nights. My
exactly.
sister saw them at Oracle Park when it was AT&T
Oh,
Park, which for those that don't know, Metallica is from the Bay
the
Area, right?
Bay.
They're a San
Yep.
Francisco band. So playing in Oracle Park, the Giant Stadium is like ground zero for them. And
Yep.
Levi Stadium too, although, Santa Clara is like an hour away, but still that's home
Yeah.
of the night. But yeah,
Uh,
that's crazy. I can't remember, did I tell you this? But Kirk Hammett, right? He lives in Hawaii,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
his wife is my high school classmate, Lonnie.
Oh, I
So
didn't know
uh,
that.
yeah, so it's awesome to think that Metallica has like really serious Hawaii ties.
Yeah, it's funny because my sister was buying a Christmas tree by Rock Bottom a bunch of years ago, and she hits me up and she's like, yeah, Kirk Hammett's here. I'm like, don't fuck around. I'm coming." Like, of course,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't go, but I was just like, he's here, and I'm thinking like, Kirk Hammett's buying a Christmas tree, and I'd probably be ashamed of myself what I would do. I'd probably fan girl out like. Being you're in the radio industry, what celebrities have you met? And I always ask this question, and I know a lot of people feel the same. It's like they are let down or they're blown away. Like, what were some of the ones that you were super stoked to meet?
I mean, far and away, I've met some celebrities through radio, of course, through iHeartRadio, but far and away, when I worked with BAMP and,
Oh yeah,
we're doing well over 100 concerts a year, for years. I mean, that's when you meet the most celebrities, and not just celebrities that are performing on stage, but depending on who the artist is, then other celebrities want to come and see them, right?
yeah,
Um, and speaking of Kirk Hammett, if you ever see Matty Boy has a great Kirk Hammett story for you. But one of the cool things about Kirk living in Hawaii is there was a time with, any big BAMP rock show, Kirk Hammett would want to come to the show and he would just hang out side stage because he could. He
yeah.
would just hang out side stage and watch the show. And it's just like, even though it would never be planned, like a tech would always have a guitar ready in case he wanted to come out. And usually whether it was an encore or towards the end of the concert, Kirk would, you never know, he might come out and jam and do a song with whoever the band is. And a lot of times he did, and that was really cool to see. He's just such a huge fan of music.
Yeah.
um, but I've had my fair share of encounters with musicians, and artists, good and bad. And I think, and this even goes back to, I met a ton of celebrities at the Wave as
Yeah.
well. Um, I think there's something in particular about Hawaii where, like, I'm pretty sure this person is an asshole most of the time. I'm pretty sure they might be an asshole on most stops of the tour. But when celebrities come to Hawaii, whether it's for work or to play, it just puts them in a different headspace. This is just my own personal
That's
speculation. And obviously I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of um with a lot of artists in particular about, a lot of people end their tours, the last stop of a tour or a big break in the middle of a tour is in Hawaii. Maybe the North American side of the tour is done, right? And they're
yeah.
routing through Asia or Australia. But before they do that leg of the tour, they're like, let's stop in Hawaii for a week and we'll do one show, but then we'll just like decompress or whatever and rest up. So a lot of people, there's, even though they're performing, they're sort of in vacation mode when they come here, and they just seem to be a lot nicer.
Hmm.
Um, it's not going to be the same as playing like a gig in Tucson or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's just a different vibe. And across the board, everyone that you talk to does say, even behind the scenes, um, is everyone here is just so nice, and it's they might not say this, but it really is like the Aloha spirit, right? So
Yeah.
that's sort of like is sort of forces them, I think, to be a little bit nicer. Um, I mean, I've definitely run into my fair share of assholes for sure. And you know this doing club nights, like
Oh yeah.
if you're a celebrity and bottle service is sold out and I can't do anything for you, sorry. Like if
Oh yeah.
you're, we would do theme parties and I'm sorry if you're a celebrity, but if you're not wearing all white, we're not going to let you in. So when you have to tell a celebrity no is usually when you're going to see them at their worst, but that's when
Yeah.
you tell any human no, that's usually when you see them at their worst, especially if they've had a few drinks. Um, Cutting off celebrities is always,
Oh
interesting
yeah.
how you have to go about doing that. Um, but I would say, for the most, I know it's not like a fun answer, but for the most part, everyone has been really nice. The people that have been true assholes, I can't really talk about
Yeah,
on
yeah.
publicly. I'd be happy to tell you all the stories you want, off the air
We'll do
or
that at a bar one
not
night.
recorded.
I would
Yeah, yeah,
definitely want
yeah.
to know.
But really, for the most part, everybody is truly nice, and people do say that, like, people here are nicer. And they appreciate that. And again, I think a lot of people just look at it as like an extended vacation, even though they're working. I know that's a
Yeah.
boring answer, but
That's so funny. I had to do that, and when like everything you're talking about just triggers some memory, and I literally had to tell Rampage Jackson, the MMA
oh,
fighter,
good luck with
that
that.
he couldn't come into Oceans because he had a t-shirt on. And we're
Yeah,
just
he's
like, what? Like, you tell him. And I was like, fuck, okay, I'll tell him. And sorry, bro, like you can't come in. And he was mad, but he was cool at the same time. But I just was thinking, how am I gonna tell this guy he can't come in because he's wearing
yeah,
a t-shirt? He looks like
that's
King
funny.
Kong, and fuck, like,
Yeah, he used to come into apartment 3 all the time.
yeah,
Um, there was when I think he was here filming for something. That's the other thing
yeah,
is people coming through, right? They're filming for a TV show or a movie, and they're just here for a short period of time. But I have way, way more stories of celebrities being super nice
nice.
than I do of being assholes. Thank God.
Oh
Thank
yeah.
God. I
Did
did have
you
one celebrity. I won't say who. It was a DJ that was that I think Como and I had flown him out.
Como? Wow, I
Yeah,
haven't heard that name in a while.
rest in peace,
W.
Como.
Yep,
Yeah,
R.I.P. The
he is.
W.
He was in a lot of ways the goat of like everything that Maddie and I were doing. Como had sort of done first. That really like high end, elevated. Like I'm not trying to get everyone. I'm gonna like charge the most cover. Like Maddie and I get a lot of credit for doing a lot of stuff I think that Como did first. Um, and I mean, um, he's really missed. Maddie and I talk about him often and really what could have been. And it's just a
Yeah.
shame he's not here anymore. And, him and I were really close. He was my best friend before Maddie came along. And that guy he had way more ideas than he ever knew what to do with. But anyway, Como and I so we had teamed up. We were flying out a DJ to do some shows. And I'd picked this guy up at the airport. And the first thing he said was like, take me to Waikiki. I heard that's where all the hookers are. Like, I want to get a hooker. And like I want like a big bag of weed and like a big bag of blow. And I'm just like, Jesus, like you've been in my car for 3 minutes. Like, calm down. And this dude was so excited because he's like, I've heard all about the Hawaii hookers. And I'm just like, he literally wanted me to like drive him into Waikiki and like
Pick one off the street.
yeah, I'm like, I am not putting a hooker in my car. You can do whatever you want on your own time, but like, I'm taking you to tell is when sound check is, and like, whatever you do, like, don't get so fucked up that you're
You
not only
can't
going to
play.
sound check, but then not, do the gig. He crushed the show. It was a sold. I think he's at 2 nights. I can't remember, but I mean, it was a sold out show. Everyone was happy, but that was just one thing I'm like, God, he was an asshole. And he was for the style of music he played, he was my all-time favorite in that particular
Oh,
genre. And it
That
was just,
sucks.
oh man, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I remember those hookers in Waikiki back in the day. They had the clear heels. That's how you could tell they were hookers.
Yeah. Yeah. It was again, different times. It was
Yeah.
really, life was a lot more fun back
Oh
then,
yeah, 100%.
all the way around.
Yeah. Was there somebody you ever fanboyed over? Like, oh shit, like so stoked to meet kind, or you don't get like that?
Yeah, no, well, it's far and few between. Kirk Hammett was a big one. I met the Police are my favorite band of all time.
Oh, Sting.
And I actually met Stuart Copeland, the drummer, who's arguably one of the top five rock drummers of all time. Um, I met Stuart Copeland like when I was a teenager and completely lost my shit. And I think he was the first celebrity that I met. But
Oh,
if
that's
I
cool.
ran into Stuart Copeland tomorrow, it would be the same thing. I did get to meet Sting
Oh,
um,
wow.
in a very personal, private setting in a at the old Cape.
Oh,
Um, I actually like sat in a room with him while he did the whole interview and hung out with him for quite a bit of time. Um,
that's cool.
he showed up in studio for the interview that he could have done over the phone, and he showed up 15 minutes early. And I was there the whole time, and we were hanging out, just chatting. He could not have been fucking nicer.
That's
I just,
super cool.
I couldn't believe it. He was so nice. And that was, whatever your favorite band of all time is. Like, if I met James Hetfield or that, I would lose it. I did meet Lars.
Oh shit.
Lars Ulrich, the drummer of
Yeah.
Metallica, he
Yeah.
actually showed up to, we did a official Metallica after party at the Wave, and he actually showed up.
Holy
And
shit.
I was, I grew up a drummer playing drums,
Oh,
and
I
at
didn't
the
know that.
time, that was, God, what tour was that for?
And Justice,
No, and Justice, I was still in high school.
the
I did
Black
go to that
Album.
show. I
I
did
went to
go
the
to
show.
Justice.
Yeah.
So
Both nights.
that
Yeah.
show, so the reason why the chairs at the Blaisdell Arena now are all on the floor level are all bolted together. The reason why they do that now is because of the Injustice for All stop of Metallica at the arena, because all the chairs back then were individual chairs, and everyone on the floor picked up their chairs and threw them in a pile in the center of the arena so that they could make a giant pit.
Yep. And I
Um,
have a
and
scar from one of those chairs from that concert. Is on my calf. No
so
joke.
if you, yeah, oh, I believe it. I mean, I was
Yeah.
there. I think I went two of the three shows.
Yeah.
Um, and the same thing happened every night.
Yeah.
Um, after that show was the impetus for them connecting all the chairs the way they do in a big long things. But meeting Lars was pretty cool. Usually it's funny because usually the people you fangirl over aren't like the people you would think. Like, I was super stoked. I can't even remember his name. He was on that TV show, The League,
Oh,
um, which was like this cult TV show, literally about a fantasy football league. And some of the
yeah.
guys from Seinfeld were the creators of it and the writers. Nick Kroll was on that show, and Mark Duplass was on that show.
Yeah.
Like, all these guys became big after, but I was just so into this TV show.
I
And
like that show too. Yeah.
Steve Razzanini, I think his name was, he was the redhead on the show, the ginger.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and I mean, and he did a show at the Republic for like 200 people or something. I mean, no one came to his show. Nobody cared who it was. But I was like, holy shit, you're on the league. Like, I love that. Like, that was a cool one. But most like really big artists, even if you're like the promoter, you don't even have a chance to interact with them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I wouldn't say I fangirled over him, but it was really cool to meet Boy George.
Oh
Um,
shit.
Yeah, and he was super, super nice to me. I had interviewed him over the phone ahead of time. So when I ran into him backstage at the concert at the arena, like, he remembered me.
Oh wow.
Um, and he was just really nice. But, you know, it's just funny because, usually who you're fangirling over isn't the people that people would think, right?
Yeah, it was, yeah. I was, I never call in favors much because I know how it is, but I, at one point, um, Stone Temple Pilots, the lead singer passed away, obviously, and Chester
Scott Weiland, yeah.
Bennington, yeah,
Yeah,
Chester
Chester.
Bennington was the, like, took over for spots. And just so happened, Stone Temple Pilots was scheduled to be at the Republic. And when I found that out, Chester Bennington was gonna headline a Stone Temple Pilot show at the Republic. I called Rob immediately. I said, Rob, I don't ask for anything. Like, I'm always cool with, like, you always take care, but I don't ask for anything. This one I want all access. I want in the green room downstairs. I want to meet Chester Bennington because, like, Linkin Park is my second favorite band. So I was like, and he was hooked it up, and they never came because Linkin Park started touring and Chester couldn't do that.
I remember
Yeah,
those shows, and um, I grew up liking STP as well,
yeah,
and then obviously I liked Linkin Park. So to have like the combo of the two
yeah.
was like, oh my God, this was going to be so cool. And if I'm not mistaken, those shows canceled pretty late in the game.
Yes,
I mean, we were definitely up and on sale for a while. And
yeah,
I think right out of the gate, we had scheduled two shows. And we may have even had a third in our back pocket. I can't remember, but that just, I mean, to have Chester Bennington perform in a place the size of the Republic just
yeah.
would have been ridiculous. Truly.
I was
I
definitely
have an
gonna be there.
autographed Lincoln Park guitar hanging on the wall outside my office with with Chester's autograph on it.
I'm gonna have to get that from you, but yeah.
Well, that's like thanks to iHeartRadio kind of thing.
Yeah.
That wasn't anything that I did, but
I
it is
got,
cool to
yeah.
look at that and think, wow, man, that was Chester. But
Yeah.
I totally forgot about those shows at the Republic. That just would have been insane.
It would have been, and I don't know, like, hey, this was my thing. Ryan Sean was our resident DJ back in the day, and every single Artist Groove Network event, and only me and him probably realized it because I told him to do it, but the last song of every night was Plush from Stone
Hmm.
Temple Pilots. And that's one of my favorite all-time songs ever. And to be able to see Chester Bennington sing that song live, I might have just earned in my pants. Like, that would have been it. I would have been done.
I am surprised that Ronnie let you play that song every night as the
He
last
was all
song.
fucked up by that time, so he probably didn't even know.
No, not Ronnie. Get out of here.
He wouldn't even know that is happening. But every single night, and you can ask Ryan Sean, Plush. That was our ending song every single night.
I love it. You know, that's another thing. Those the old school promoters, we could drink like this whole new generation, we could drink all those kids under the table.
I think we still can guarantee.
Easily, easily. There was
Yeah,
a time when I was like drinking a bottle a night by myself, and that was, I mean, that wasn't anything special. That was just the norm. Um,
yeah,
and yeah, that was you know, I can't believe we've gone this long without talking about Blaze, but Blaze and I
yeah,
did parties together after Matty Boy and I did when Matty Boy retired because he was over it and he
yeah.
was big time with BAMP at that point. But um Blaze could drink more than anyone else I could know, which is really saying something. And he would always just stay like this like Japanese motherfucker would just be so he's like, I'm just gonna be Asian the whole time and just be Japanese. And I would be like, you know, have my shirt off, doing the worm on the floor and jumping up on the bar and throwing napkins. And it's like Blaze has drank just as much as me, and he looks like how he did, you
When
know,
he
when the night
started,
started.
yeah,
Yeah. He was just like even Steven all the time.
yeah, that
I
guy's a
always
legend.
appreciated that about him. It's just like, you know, that it takes a that's a special skill set
Yep,
for sure.
definitely one I didn't have, but I never took my shirt off and did the worm. It's more I'm vomiting in the bathroom. That would be my.
Yeah, I never vomit till much later. I wish I would vomit sooner, but
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, those are good times. I to get back to the Linkin Park thing, I got to see them live at least once in my life with Chester, and
Oh,
I
Winchester.
I'm
Okay.
actually going in September to watch them play it at in Sacramento in September with
Backtown.
with a girl. But we were
Emily
at Hard
Armstrong.
yeah, we were at Hard Rock and Linkin Park played. It was the day before the VMAs, and cool story.
Which
We're
Hard Rock?
Hard Rock in Vegas. They played in the
Oh,
parking lot. I still have the pic and I have the ticket stuff, but I have something super cool. The and like this is like Thad fanboy now. So I made my way to the front. It was me and Mark, and I made my way to the front. And at the end of the concert, the drummers like throw out the drumstick, right? And we went to catch it and it hit our hand and it fell on the other side of the barrier. And I was like telling the security, "Hey, pass the drumstick." And he's like, "No." And he took the drumstick and he put it like right underneath the stage. And I'm thinking like, "Fuck, just give us the drumstick, man. Like you're not even a fan." Or he just wouldn't. And Mike
zero
Shinoda,
reason for
yeah,
him to do that. Zero
yeah,
reason. He wanted to be a dick.
yeah. And at the end of the concert, the band jumped down and was shaking everybody's hand. And Mike Shinoda came up to us and I shook his hand and we're like, "Hey, can you get us the drumstick?" So Mike Shinoda crawled under the stage, got the drumstick, and gave it to me. I have it right here. I'll show you. Linkin Park drumstick, man. And
Nice.
it still has like the dings from the rim shots and all
Yeah.
that, but this was handed to me from Mike Shinoda after he crawled under the stage to get it for me. So that's a cool story. For me, it's like the
That is a cool
biggest deal
story.
ever. But
Do you
yeah,
know that Johan actually he has a place in Hawaii? I
yeah, he
can't
lives
tell
with
you.
he
I
lives.
can't.
I know exactly where he lives. He lives next to one of our close friends.
Okay. I was gonna say
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say where he lives.
I met him there actually. He was
Yeah.
working out and our friend brought me in there and I was like, "Oh my God." Like, yeah, it was pretty cool. He is super cool.
He's super nice. I've hung out with him a few times. He's good friends with DDK, and I know Daniel a little bit. So I've hung out with him a couple times, and I mean, you would never in a million years know that he's like in Lincoln Park. He could not be more low key,
Oh
like if he
yeah.
tried. I mean, he is happy to blend into the background and to
Yep.
just chill and be like it's crazy. Just I mean, the fact that he's in Lincoln Park and how he acts is just it's funny to me in
Yeah.
the best possible way. Like I mean, he's just so cool and so down to earth and just really really nice.
Yep. Me and our friend that lives in the same building as him tried to get him to DJ our one of our events because his birthday and my birthday, our friend's birthday and my birthday is pretty much within 3 or 4 days, and that was our goal. And he was down to do it, but he had a prior engagement in the mainland, and I was like, oh, if Johan DJ'd my birthday party, that would have been next level
Insane.
fucking props. You know what I mean?
So what do you think of their new music?
I Oh, it's kind of rough. My opinion is I like it. I like that it's not a guy because that guy would be
Yeah, it
scrutinized
was smart
over.
for
Yeah,
them to go the other way
yeah,
completely, so no one you couldn't compare it, right? It's apples and
yeah.
oranges.
I
That was a
I like
smart
a
move.
yeah, I like a few songs. I I like that you can catch that Linkin Park feel, and I think the girl does a great job. And I wanna see her live. I'm not gonna lie. When they announced it, I was driving to the gym and they came out with it was a on their website, it was they did a concert. And I pulled over and I watched it and I to hear them play like certain songs again as Linkin Park, like kind of got me in the feels, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna say I cried, but I did fucking feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're recording new music again already, even though their new album just came out like
Oh,
6 months ago. They're
yeah.
already recording new music. They didn't say when it's going to be coming out, but they're going to have a new album out sooner rather than later. I would say within the next year.
Yeah. I
It's
think
pretty incredible.
what
That's actually a
connects,
good sign. That means that they're, behind the scenes they're gelling, right? And they have
yeah.
good chemistry playing on the road and something, new music and new like the creative juices got going performing on the road together. So I
Yeah.
think this next album would probably be a better representation of the potential of the new Linkin Park as opposed to the first album.
Yeah, and they don't have to be that band. They can evolve into what it is now, and I appreciate that. And I'm excited to see them. I do like that they do play the older songs too, and I I yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, if you want to see Linkin Park, this is Linkin Park, and there's no way you can bring that back, but you can move forward with it. And that I didn't know they were making new music. That also tells me that it's connecting with the fans. And for me, Linkin Park and Metallica connected dots in my life and moments and helped me through stuff and made me stronger because of the words and the lyrics that I'm connected to them. And it it's like when you see this podcast, the beginning of my intro, Hoppa Boy remix, Nothing Else Matters, and that's from Metallica, which is one of my all-time favorite songs. And um I know you're
Shout out,
tripping.
boy.
Yeah, yeah, DJ Hoppa Boy, but yeah, I think music does something to you in that time of life that you can draw and remember. So
Of
yeah,
course.
I'm
Of course.
happy.
And
I'm
that's why
happy.
people are so connected to the music of their youth, right? Because that's like, the most formative years in your life
Yeah.
are those years, and whatever music you were listening to at that time, it is going to have the biggest impact on you. When the Police reunion tour came, when they had broken up, and then they got back together after how many years? I flew to Seattle,
Oh,
and actually G Spot was with me. G Spot flew up with
oh,
me too.
that's
Flew to
awesome.
Seattle, saw them in Seattle. And I got emotional both nights. Like I had lump in my throat, tears in my eyes both nights. And then they came to the arena and they did 3 nights at the arena. And I went, and this was at the other end of the tour. So this was like a year later or whatever. I went to all 3 nights and got emotional again. And it's just like, it's not just, you know, whoever the band is or the music or the songs, it's not just that. It's just that's reconnecting to that time in your life. And there's such a nostalgia factor to that.
Yeah.
And that's something that's so powerful about music that it's really hard to replicate with any other like artistic form, I think.
Yeah. And I feel it too. We went to Guns N' Roses at Aloha Stadium, and when we
I
were
was,
kids,
yeah.
yeah, when we were kids, my sister and I, Heidi, she she and I love Guns N' Roses, and we were in different places, but one of my favorite songs is Patience from Guns N' Roses. And when that song came
Well, you
on,
like
she
all the slow jams, yeah? You like all the
yeah.
the
Yeah.
ballads.
Cause I could play guitar, so I like that. Yeah. Oh,
Oh, nice.
Metallica, my all-time favorite song is Creeping Death. Like that's
Cool.
I hear that and lose my shit. Yeah, but um when Patience came on, my sister FaceTime me while they're playing live, or both of us are in the stadium, and fuck, that was one of the coolest moments. Like that was super cool for me. And yeah, this music does that. And yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool to hear. Yeah,
Enjoy Guns N' Roses live while you can, because Axel does not look right.
he does not, bro. He's
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 got some situations going on here. I don't know.
bro. He has so much work done. He came big. Slash looks the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
Duff looks cool. Like yeah, but
I met
yeah.
Duff. I met Duff when I used to work at a strip club called Pure Platinum. he came in. In hindsight, I should have been a lot more like, oh my God. Um, but I wasn't for some reason. But in hindsight, it's like, wow, that
Yeah.
was tough from Guns N' Roses. And that was like they were in their peak time
Oh
back then.
yeah.
This was like
Oh.
early 90s.
Oh, like
Um,
Lose Your Illusion just came out kind of, or
yeah, must have. And I guess they were here at that time I was working all the time. I wasn't really going to shows, but they must have been here for shows. And again, he was super nice.
that's super cool.
So,
My daughter has a volleyball tournament next month in Vegas, and Motley fucking Crew has a residency that I'm gonna go see. That's gonna be like the fifth time I'm gonna see Motley Crew, but I got
yeah.
to. Yeah.
Speaking of lead singers that they had, there's
Oh
a lot
yeah.
going on there. Vince Neil, he needs Jesus or something. He needs
He
I don't know.
needs to
I
say
need
no
to
to seconds, bro.
that guy is I actually really like their album with that other singer. I can't remember his name. I think it was the guy from the Screaming Trees.
Oh,
And it was so awesome to hear Motley Crue with like a singer who could actually really sing.
yeah.
But um the last time I saw whenever the last time Motley played the arena, I think I went,
I was there. Yeah.
and it's like
Was
Mick
this
Mars has got
carnivore? So,
his
oh,
Mick Mars back, or Mick Mars back is all fucked up, right? So
yeah.
he's just kind of like leaning up against whatever he was leaning up against because he can barely move. Vince sounded like shit, but Nikki Sixx and
Yeah.
Tommy were just crushing it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just, I mean, Mick Mars has actual real health problems, right, with
Yeah.
his
He's not
vertebrae.
touring with them anymore. They got a new
Yeah.
guy.
But and I know they're all pissed off at each other now, but it's just
Yeah.
like Vince, there's no excuse for Vince to sound that shitty. Like he just needs to take care of himself. And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, all you need to do is stay quasi healthy. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty much his only job, and he can't do it. It sucks. Sucks to see it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna be there. I will see them. Yeah, Guns N' Roses. I mean, Motley Crue was a fun
What's your
band.
favorite Motley song?
I don't even want to tell you because it's gonna be
Is
the
it
same
Home Sweet
shit.
Home?
Yeah.
Please don't tell me it's Home Sweet Home.
I
Oh
honestly like
God.
kickstart my heart because
Yeah.
what I used to train that got me going. Oh, what is it? Dr.
But to
Feelgood
me,
was pretty good.
yeah,
I
Dr.
liked
Feelgood's good.
Girls, 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 Wild Side, Livewire is one of my favorites. I would say
Oh,
Livewire. Um
yeah, off their
Girl
first
Don't
album.
Go Away Mad. That might be the
Just
one.
go away.
Yeah, just go away. Yeah. That was yeah, that music was fun. I love all that shit. Plus, like you said, how songwriters and all that. One thing I loved about rock is they play their own instruments and they write their own music. It's I
Yeah.
remember Kid Rock was being interviewed one time and they were talking about how MTV was had that show Making the Band, and he said, "Fuck all that. What I'm used to is making the band. That happens in your garage with a fucking case of beer, and that's why I love rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's, to your point about the making the band, that gets it back to like everyone's using the same producers and the same songwriters. So it all sounds the same. And, if you're a band, you know, everyone is writing the music to their own instrument, right?
Yeah,
And so that's no other band in the world is going to sound like your band because of that, right? Like
yeah,
the signature sound that bands have that you can't really replicate um, in these other types of music. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know, but it's a shame that music as a whole is sort of popularity wise, it doesn't sell a ton of tickets like it used to. Lollapalooza just this morning announced their full lineup, and for the first time ever, Lollapalooza, which was founded by Perry Farrell of Jane's
oh,
Addiction.
Jane's Addiction.
And he started that festival because bands like Jane's Addiction didn't have their own festival. So it was the first big alternative festival. For the first time ever, Lollapalooza doesn't have a rock headliner.
Oh,
Um, in this year's lineup. Really, the only one of the main bands is Korn.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and it's really telling that Lollapalooza doesn't even have a lot of alternative acts. Coachella used to have a lot more
Yeah.
alternative and especially indie acts. And all that style of music is just, it's not what the cool kids are listening to anymore. In a way, it's
Yeah.
cool because it's like now, you know, not everyone likes to like what's super popular, right? So I feel like if you are a true rock fan, it's okay that this isn't like the big massive thing.
Yeah.
Um, but on the downside, it doesn't get the respect and love that it deserves as a genre,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Huh, speaking of James Addiction, I seen like a couple months ago Perry Farrell just lost it at a show and hit
Yeah,
Dave Navarro.
Dave
Like,
Navarro, yeah,
yeah.
punched him in the face.
Yeah.
I went on and found on YouTube, and this tells you, like, I guess behind the scenes, like, because this is be a really dick thing for a sound tech to do, but the sound tech did it, which tells you how much the band and how much the crew behind the scenes don't like Perry Farrell. Is the sound tech released the raw audio from the board where you could hear exactly what Perry and Dave were saying to
Oh,
each other,
wow.
right? Not the viral video that went out, because that's the mix of all of the different channels and
Yeah.
plus the audience. This was just the recording of the two of them, and you could really hear how fucked up Perry was and how just totally confused and taken aback Dave was. Like, I've never seen or heard of a lead singer punching their guitarist
Yeah.
in the middle of the show. I mean, that's something like punk rock bands would do, but that's on purpose because that's part of what being punk rock is.
Yeah.
But this was something else, and it was, again, like, he needs help. Like, he
Oh,
needs,
yeah. He needs
that boy needs to
Jesus
go to
too.
rehab or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, he needs
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, shoots Flash. We've been going for over an hour, and if we go down this road, this podcast is gonna be 19 hours long because I'm enjoying this. But before I we jump off, I wanted to bring this up because it's very important. I know you're keeping Super C Dub's legacy alive, and I see your post and reading some of the stuff just makes me remember how much of an awesome person she was. And I feel like people need to know it and remember it. And I'm glad you're doing that on your social media. And I always do like a little bit of research when I'm doing these things, and those ones with Super C Dub stuck out to me the most. And I just wanted you to be able to share a little bit about her because it fucking matters, bro. She was such an awesome person.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not keeping her memory alive because she touched so many people. Everybody is keeping her memory alive because she was just that awesome. And, a lot of people just really had a special connection with her. And a lot of people are keeping her memory alive. It's definitely not just me. Mark Becker is doing more than I am, more than anyone is, to keep the Aloha Cancer Project going. The foundation that Super CW started with Daniel Gray, who's also passed away from cancer. He was, owner of Soho, and they were great friends. And I actually met Daniel through Krista. Um, but you know, Krista's legacy, I think ultimately is just that of kindness and of just being like optimistic. And I mean, talk about the ultimate, always look at the glass half full person. And she really did, people want to be around people like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, she was so positive all the time and just so happy all the time. And she just had a really great ability. You could be the shittiest person, but she could find the one good thing about you. And then, you know, talk about that one good thing about a shitty person and sing that from the rooftops. And really, she just did such a good job of finding the best in everybody. and letting everyone else know about what those best qualities were about everybody. And it's just, there's never really been anybody else like that. And that I've been around. And, I would love to meet more people like that. Having
Oh
people
yeah.
like that in your life it's just so good for you. It's so healthy to be around people that are that positive and that uplifting all the time. I have her with me every day. I've got, I don't know if you can see it, my Super CW hat. She used to come into my office at iHeartRadio all the time, and we would have coffee together because she did a show here for a weekly show. And when she would come in and record, she brought this coffee cup so that she could we'd always have a cup of coffee together. And eventually she's like, I'm just gonna like leave this coffee cup here, for you, and I'm just gonna leave it in your office. She would like leave me post-it notes in my office all the time, even when I wasn't around. But
That's super cool.
save this one thing of hers that I have in my office. I don't know if you can see that. It says, "You're the
You're the
shit."
shit.
You're the shit.
That's
And this
awesome.
is like, this just reminds me of Krista so much. She used to have this up at her desk and then at her house. You're the shit. That's like Krista's, you know, that's what Krista thought about everyone. She thought everyone was the shit. She thought everyone was awesome. And again, that's
Yeah.
why so many people loved her. Like, who doesn't want to be around someone who just thinks you're awesome? Even when you know and they know you're not, she's just going to be like, you know what? Let's just focus on the awesome part of you.
That's
And I,
super
I
cool.
think those are just great life lessons that anybody would be smart for anyone to take a little bit of that with them.
Definitely. And one thing I loved about her is anytime you ran into her, and I wasn't as close, I just knew her through the industry, but anytime I talked to her, she was engaged with me fully for that moment and that conversation. It wasn't like she actually cared, and she actually was interested in that conversation, and she always, like you said, it made you feel good. It's like Aloha is infectious, and she had that infection at everything she touched. And yeah, I definitely didn't want to end this without bringing her up, because I know how close you were, and it matters, bruh. People need to know. And yeah, and
Yeah. She had a book, or she had a share doc called The Cancer Plan of Attack that she shared with anyone that wanted to know about cancer and about not how they could go about it, but she's like, hey, this is what worked for me. These are questions that I needed to get answered. These are questions that anyone is going to have, whether you have cancer or know someone close with cancer. And, even when she was alive, the share doc like had over, well over 10,000 people were using the doc.
oh wow,
And Becker is actually taking her cancer plan of attack and making it into a book
oh
and
wow,
getting it published. PBS just did a special where they re-aired the documentary that we did on her, that you can go to the PBS website and see, and you could obviously just go and find it on YouTube. But the documentary that Gerald Elmore ended up finishing with Nella Media Group did fantastic work. If anyone wants to learn more, not just about Krista, but really just, I mean, she was just inspirational on how to live life.
yeah, that's super cool. My friend's brother and his wife ended up taking her dog. So they have her dog. I don't know how that's going, but I know they had
Oh,
her
he
dog.
he passed away. Boo.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I got a
Yeah.
text not that long ago, within the last year or so. Like, it's like, oh, just wanted to let you know that he passed away. I was like, holy shit, that dog was still alive.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, right?
oh.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right on,
Um,
Flash.
yeah, man. It was a lot of fun. Happy to do this anytime.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna definitely call you on it. And now you know I'm a rock fan. So if you're at a show and you see Kurt Hammond, this thing better fucking ring, bro. But yeah, I appreciate you. And like I said, I've been in this nightlife industry, and you're one of the gems that I met. And the like, you always had that same good vibe and aloha and smiles and shots. Like when we went to Becky Mitz's thing, they're like, "Where's Flash?" And I'm like, "He's at the fucking bar, I guarantee it." And like, we're going there, and then my daughter was like, "Flash from the radio?" I go, "Yeah, you want to meet him?" She goes, "Yeah." That's why I brought her because she wanted to put the face to the voice because I listened to Star and she knew exactly who you are. And she's like, "You're for real his friend? Like, you guys are for real friends?" I'm like, "Yes." You'd be surprised of the shit we've done. You know what I mean? Like, and for her, it was
Yeah,
pretty
please don't tell
cool.
your daughter everything we've
Yeah,
done, but
yeah,
yes.
yeah. But I appreciate you, Flash.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you're definitely somebody I looked up to and was stoked to call friend in this crazy life we've lived. And you do meet a lot of great people in this crazy industry and like real friends. And um I appreciate you from coming on this show, and I appreciate you being able to have a long conversation that's uninterrupted. And Brad, it's the most sober I've ever been talking to you, to be honest.
Right?
Yeah. Right on,
Yeah.
man.
All
Well,
right. Appreciate you, brother.
social media, where can people find you?
At Flashy 808 on everything.
Right on. All right. And for us, as always, you can find us on Above the Bridge Podcast on Instagram, our YouTube channel, Above the Bridge Podcast. Our website is atbpod.com, and my personal Instagram is Thaddy Daddy High. All right. Well, shakas for the cameras. We're out. Shout out to the Artist Group Network. Aloha.
Yeah, AGN.
Yeah.